Hey YouTube, how are you? So we are recording late night to answer the questions that you guys have. We're starting off in, it's a late night recording. So if you're watching this replay, this has been a live stream. So I decided to carve out time tonight, late night, to answer your questions. And so I got a question from Jessica. You guys know that I did a video here on YouTube where I asked you guys to submit questions. And so, hello YouTube. Hi Diane, how are you? Or sorry, is it Diane or Diane? Hopefully I'm saying that right. So hello to everyone, to my YouTube family. So I finally got my ring light. And so there are going to be some amazing new videos coming. So I'm really excited about that. However, I wanted to answer this question. Just to kind of get the ball rolling. So this was from Jessica, and Jessica inboxed me. Hey guys, how are you? Jessica inboxed me on Facebook. She is a YouTuber. She actually found me on YouTube. A lot of you guys have found me on YouTube, which I am so excited about. YouTube has brought so many amazing, I guess I could say, new tribe members, family members. Hello, Nikira. Thank you so much. And so her question was basically about writing. How did I get started writing my books? Was there a particular method? How did I intertwine that with my website and all those kind of things? So I don't actually have all of my books with me. Because Boss Builder I'm out of. So I need to order some more. I'm out of physical copies of Boss Builder. But I do have my most recent book, and actually the rough draft of that book. So you guys know that Led to Lead is my most recent book. It literally just came out recently. And so a lot of people have gotten, this copy. And so this is actually what the rough draft looked like. And I can even show you guys, I wish I had my iPad, so I can show you guys what the original cover looked like. The original cover was of a illustration of a girl, and it had a lot of pink and green in it. And that cover changed to this. Then this cover got changed to this. There's also my book, Faith in Glass Slippers, which I'm out of copies of, and Boss Builder. And then I have my next book, which is coming. This is the S Word. It has a not for resale because this is the rough draft copy with a proof copy. And I don't like the cover. I thought I liked it. I don't like it. My family, they don't like it either. I asked them what they think. They're like, So we're going to change the cover, but the inside is good to go. This is a resource, and this is on sales. So this is a business book. This is a life leadership book. Then Faith in Glass Slippers is a religious book, religious leadership. And then Boss Builder is a business book, business and ministry. So the question that she had was, how did you get started? Like what's the process in your mind of thinking these books through? And so let me go through. I wrote down 3 things that I'm going to give you. So we're going to be short and sweet, to the point. In my opinion, just to kind of get started, I think it does depend upon whether you're writing a fiction or nonfiction. I think those are two different ballparks. Just because, in my opinion, novel writing and nonfiction writing, in my opinion, they have like 2 different thinking methods. Because, when you're writing a fiction book, you have to think about plot, you got to think about characters, you got to think about, the climax and, all these different components to make a really good story. While I do believe that a nonfiction book can have those same components that you're thinking about. It's just not the same dynamic. When I'm writing my books, I'm not thinking about characters and making sure that this character has a strong enough voice and a good enough background story, So the experience that I'm going to be giving is more so for those who are writing nonfiction books. I cannot give you fiction expertise. Now, I can probably give you that when it comes to building the tribe part and selling them, but I definitely cannot give you the expertise on, writing them. So this is going to be, again, nonfiction advice. Okay, so hello, YouTube family. Let's get into this. The first thing is that I always do a brain dump. So for me, when a book comes to mind for me, it's always not what I've planned it. I don't think any book that I've written has come to me on purpose, like, oh, I really want to write a book. It never happens that way. Usually the way it happens is that, and let me make sure this is, okay, cool. Usually the way that it happens is that I am going to be teaching, or I'm talking, or, I'm in prayer, or, just, it could be just whatever odd event. And then I'm like, oh, and then I'll write it down. Usually it takes me a while to get it from that one point to actually writing, because for me, I have to figure out, how does this actually fit into what I'm doing? So when I write my nonfiction books, a lot of times they are coming in certain modes of my calendar. So a perfect example is that Boss Builder came after doing, after I did a huge, it was like over 1,000 attendees, and I did this Boss Builder workbook. And so that made sense. Faith in Glass Slippers came because I did a teaching. So then that made sense. And then the S word is making sense because this is coming after I'm doing this huge sales challenge, right? So when I'm doing books, for nonfiction, for me personally, remember, this is me. Okay, this is me. This is me. So it may not always apply to you. But this is, Jessica's asking in regards to me. Okay. So for me personally, I have to have a reason to write. I can't just write. I know some people are like natural writers. I'm not a natural writer. I do like to write, but it's not like innate. It's usually because I'm passionate about certain topics, so I want to start writing about it, and then that turns into a book. But the first thing that's going to always happen is I'm going to make sure that I've written down, usually I have a title, and that's where I'm going to start. Then I do a brain dump. And that brain dump is so instrumental for the brain dump. The brain dump is instrumental for me. So for the brain dump, what basically happens is I will take a journal and I'll just write down a whole bunch of stuff that I would want to put in the book. Things I want to cover. And again, we're talking about nonfiction. So things I want to cover, things that I want to include, things that I feel like, really need to be in this book. Okay. And then once I get to my brain dump, then I kind of fine tune and see, okay, does this stuff really need to be in this kind of book? Who is this book for? Is this book for a certain age demographic, a certain group? Are these enough topics for them? Do I need to change? Maybe I need to add some other topics. And I just kind of do a huge brain dump. Once I get done the brain dump, then I kind of go into notes mode. And so it's almost like a scavenger hunt for me, right? Like I got to start thinking about, okay, I think this would be a great thing to talk about. But because I'm a squirrel innately, and a squirrel is somebody who just, so a lot of times I'll use my phone and things will come to me in pieces. For some people, they can just all write it out in one swing. I'm not like that. It'll come to me in pieces. But I definitely suggest using an app, or you can also use it on your computer. It's free. It's called Evernote. That thing right there, that app right there. Evernote has been awesome to me. And Evernote is basically it's like a squirrel's best friend for tracking stuff, like from notes to audio to video, just kind of putting everything in one place. I love Evernote. Evernote has helped me tremendously. So I use apps like Evernote. I use apps too, like Dropbox for, saving certain files. But actually, Google Drive actually became my best friend in my last couple of books. So what I did was I was using Evernote, and then I used Google Drive to kind of like start and stop certain documents and things, just to kind of get my mind rolling. And so that also became a great place. So that's basically how I was tracking, just different thoughts. Once I have gotten that together, then we start doing the soft outline. And for me, this is the one thing that I was taught that really helped me. I'm telling you, investing in like knowledge and stuff. I'm trying to tell you, because I wouldn't have known, but I actually was in this course on book writing, and the instructor told us to come up with an outline. Now, this was a very hardcore outline. But after that book, even my other books, I now do what I call personally a soft outline. This is not a hardcore where it's like detail, but it starts to put into mind for me what are the sections of the book. Now, for me personally, I am not a just write, I can just write, but I need some kind of format. Because otherwise, I will write stuff that doesn't even go together, and I don't really have time to kind of like go through each sentence and form it, kind of put it over there. So for me, what I began doing was I began doing a soft outline. A soft outline is basically where I'm going to ask myself, what are the components, the basic components or sections that should be in this book? And then from there, I'm going to ask myself, okay, what's the order that it should be in so that it flows? And what's the order? What's the general order? The order can change, but there should be some kind of order for the book. So I knew, like, for instance, for Led to Lead, I knew, act's funny because for this book, some of the chapters changed, but I did have a soft outline that guided me so that I knew as a kind of a general just what I wanted in the book. Okay. And the thing about it is that when you write your books, you want there to be a progression, right? You don't want it to be where it's kind of like I went in order and then it's like, okay, now I'm like, went back to like part 2. So to kind of make that, I know that doesn't make sense, but basically what I'm trying to say is you don't want someone kind of walking through a path and then you place some random chapter that really should have been in the beginning at the end, So you want to make sure that there's an actual flow to the book. That's actually what happened with Led to Lead. I wanted to make sure there were some things I put strategically at the end because I felt like there were things that had to happen in the beginning first for someone to actually go through a process. And when you're writing a nonfiction book, you definitely want to make sure, actually, just like a fiction book, you want to take someone through a journey. Right. So by reading this book, what are they going to experience? Well, they should experience it in steps. So like, for instance, let me look at my chapters that I did. So for Led to Lead, for instance, the first one was called Come Out of Hiding. And that's in this book, it's basically talking about how before you even walk into leadership and live a life of joy, you first need to come out of hiding. You have to own your now. That was the next thing. Then after that, you have to remove the clones out the closet. In other words, you have to remove the copycats. The fear things that you've created. And then after that, I talk about how now you need to have some good people around you. Okay, so now you come out of your closet, come out of your hiding place, got to get some good people around you. Now let's start talking about purpose. Like, what is purpose? And the reason why I did that was because some people said, well, why didn't you put that as the first chapter? Well, in my opinion, you can't really start walking in purpose until you've gotten yourself together. Right. And then I talk about things like preparing yourself for purpose, cultivating your influence, understanding provision, understanding how to have a great perspective. And so I put things in my opinion, in an order where the person was progressing from start to finish. Okay, it actually was walking them through. Then once I got my soft outline, that's when I began writing. And then that's when I also did a more hardcore outline where I was actually defining what I wanted under each chapter. Okay, so that's that. Diane asked, question, new author in nonfiction, writing a startup, low content book. So working startup journal with a master checklist. My question, how do you commit to the end? Whew. Woo. How do you finish the book? First of all, how do we ever do it? It's funny because every single time it seems like I finish a book, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, it's done. Like, oh, I had no clue that this was ever going to end. So I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to be very, very honest. Every book that I've written, it has been like a rebellious process with myself. It's almost as if, I've had to fight myself to finish. Like, okay, Gigi, like, get your stuff together. Like, let's finish this. It can be almost the hardest thing. It can be so easy to start, but it can be so hard to finish. And I think that's the fact for anyone. But I know for me, for instance, like I could only have like one chapter left. And that one chapter will take me 15 months. So for me though, what has helped me to get to the end, I think, is I've had to really ask myself, number one, why am I doing this? You know, what's the purpose of me writing these books? Sorry, guys, I want to fix this thing on Facebook is annoying me. But what's the purpose of me doing all of this? I think that that's a really important question to ask yourself is why are you doing this? Okay. And I will also tell you is you have to make space to write. As someone who has different businesses, a part of a family business, it can be, I mean, shoot, if you have kids, if you have a 9 to 5, you're trying to balance everything. I mean, no matter whatever you do in life, period. And most people that I know, almost every single person I know, they have a very consuming life because they have all these different responsibilities. Maybe you're married, maybe you take care of your family members. It can be a lot. But what I have learned is that writing a book is a sacrifice and you have to learn how to dedicate time. And so for me, one of the things that has helped is I've had to literally lock myself in this office and not come out until like I would carve out a day, just like this is the writing day. And some people are more committed, like where they can like put in things and like, okay, I'm gonna write on this, I'm gonna write every day. I've never been like that where I can write every day. That did happen when it came to Boss Builder, where I busted out like a good like 10 days worth of writing in like one day. So for me, what helps is just designating days. But I like what Nakira said, which is like, she says it's not in her spirit right now, but I think another way to translate that too is you got to make sure like, do you have the dedication and time and the focus to write the book? Because if you don't, it's going to be a really struggling process. So you definitely want to carve out time to put into writing the book. And again, I've written several books and that's what brings me to the second thing, get an editor. Whatever you're not, get an editor, get a graphic designer, whatever it is that you're not good at, y'all, get it. Invest in it. This is the reason why too, rushing to write books is not the best thing. Why? Because it's better to stack up, save some money to go pay a graphic designer to do your book layout or the cover, or to get an editor. I think this stuff is very important because again, now if you follow my strategies, right, I believe that for every book that you write, it should be selling like hotcakes. But the way that works is you have to build a tribe and that takes time. And so you don't want to be an author that's rushing to publish. I think that's like a very scary thing because when you look at most authors, most great authors, it takes time to put out great content. And you don't want to be that notorious person that is always rushing a product out and it ends up being like horrible. So you want to take out the time, number one, to save some money, to invest in what you need. The second thing is that you want to take out the time to build a tribe while you're writing. You want to have people to sell these books to. So it's a great thing to allow time. Guys, listen to me. Leverage time. If you don't learn anything else, learn how to leverage the time that it takes to do something. Take full advantage of the minutes. You may say, oh, well, it's taking so long. I just want to get this thing out. No. Take advantage of the time. Maximize your time so that when you actually have a book out on the market, you're not just, boasting that you're an author, but you aren't selling anything, right? I think that's the danger for a lot of people. And this is the one thing that I'm committed to helping a lot of my, tribe members do is I don't want us to publish stuff, create stuff, launch stuff, and no one's buying it, right? So this is why I do these YouTube videos, so I can make sure that there's no one out here who's watching my content saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna publish a book, I'm gonna do all this stuff, and then you end up being sad because you're not selling anything. Okay, so this is why the third thing is you want to build a tribe before publishing. One of my, I'm not gonna say my pet peeves, I love all people, I really do. But one of the things that breaks my heart is when I see people brag about having products, but then they don't sell any of them, or they sell them and sell it to your friends and church people or whoever's in your circle, college roommates, whatever. And that's it. So when you are an author, you have to also remember that you are a businesswoman or a businessman. Okay, so I know a lot of authors, oh, I'm just a creative, I just write. Okay, well, I'm glad you wrote. But you also want to make sure that you're being a good steward and that you're preparing a platform that can take care of itself. So like, your book, you're going to need a website, for SEO purposes, for people to learn more about you, you're going to need marketing, you're going to need a lot of different things. And so you want to make sure that you're building a tribe. So Those are my three things. I'm not going to be long, but those are my three things. When it comes to being an author, please make sure that number one, you're organizing your writing flow so that you know what you're writing about. If you're doing a nonfiction book, just make sure that you're putting your chapters in the correct flow where you're actually taking someone from start to finish. So one of the things I think that any great author should ask about themselves is, what is the purpose of the book? Like, where am I trying to take someone? So for instance, when I wrote Lay to Lead, the whole mission of this was, which is in the subtitle, A Woman Starter Manual to Living and Leading with Joy. So the question I asked myself was, how can I get women to live and lead with joy? What are the components? What are the steps for them to get there? What are the steps? And then I wrote those steps out. Bam, they became chapters. With the S word, this one is the S word, the 7 Keys to Sound Like a Pro. It does not come out until next Thursday. But anyway, and again, the cover will change because I do not like this cover. But the question for this one was, how can I help my tribe members become great at sales? What makes a great salesman? What makes them become a pro salesman? How can I help them to teach? How can I teach someone how to sell like a human, not like a robot, not like a crazy person, but how can I help them love how to sell? What does that look like, right? What are the components that go into that? Then you need to put those things out. That's why the brain dump is important. Brain dump the answers to that question. And then you can kind of say, okay, well, to be great at sales, they need to learn this. Oh, well, they need to learn that. And then what I'll do is then I begin to structure what I had all in my mind. Okay, well, that should probably be the first thing. Okay, that should probably be the second thing. No, maybe the third thing. And then I work with it until I get to where I feel like it should be. Nikira asked, I remember when you were speaking about your journals and you said how it was a collection. My question is, how did you come up with a collection? Can you explain a little bit more? So that is actually something I'm so excited about, because this holiday season, I've been talking about it. But my Royal Prayer Journals are coming back, and they'll be coming back in different versions. So I'm really excited about that. And so we're continuing with collections. And let's see. Excuse me, guys. So to answer your question, as far as coming up with a collection, so journals are a little bit different than books, thank God. But when it comes to journals, for me, I really study. Oh, look, someone just bought something. I really study other companies. And the one thing I've learned about buyer habits is that you want to make sure that you keep them coming back. And this is why collection can be really, really important, because once someone has used a planner or journal, are they going to come back and buy the same one, or can it be the same one maybe with a different look or a different cover? And so people like variety. People like different things. For instance, one of the things that I've learned for myself is that I'll buy a journal and I love it. And then I'll go to Marshall's or Target or Amazon online. I'll see another journal that I love, and I just love the cover. Sometimes it's the cover that draws you. Sometimes it's a different layout that draws you, but you just like it. And so what I really suggest when it comes to creating a collection or coming up with a collection is that you want to think about, as a business, what is the aesthetic, the design aesthetic that we're going for? For Royal Prayer Journal, just based off of the title, I wanted things to be luxurious and glamorous. I wanted there to be a lot of glitter and sparkle and gold and silver and all that good stuff. And so for us, the way that we do it is that our collections are really the same journal, but with different covers. So different design elements, if that makes sense. And so for us, that has been like the greatest thing, because, it's the same planner, it's the same journal, but once they get done one journal and they've used it up, they can go get another one that has a different cover. So after a while, you're going to have all these different prayer journals that have all these different, covers, and it could be a really awesome thing. Another thing though, too, is, you can also think about a collection where maybe the collection isn't maybe just design based, and maybe it's also maybe in different layouts or maybe in different purposes. For instance, I may have a collection where there's maybe a different purpose for each product. So like this may be the journal. Maybe I come out with a matching planner. Maybe there'll be a notebook, and that can also be a collection. Right? So the whole goal is that there needs to be some kind of form of diversification in the product for it to be a collection of some sort. So either the covers will be different, either the layout will be different, or it will be a collection made of multiple products that have different functions. So that's another form of diversity in a product, okay? Just like, for instance, where there are book collections, right? Where there's maybe a series of, like, you know, the book. And so like this is book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. Hopefully that makes sense, Nakira. Hopefully I was able to answer your question. But yeah, as far as committing to the end, figure out what works for you to remain consistent. Make sure you know why you're doing this, and make sure to put yourself on a more focused target. I know for me, setting small goals has really helped. So instead of saying, okay, well, you know, my goal is to finish the book. No, my goal actually is to just finish 1 chapter by this deadline. You know, so don't put yourself on really like over the top, you know, deadlines that you know are just not going to work, you know? So give yourself mini goals that you can hit. Okay, guys, that's it. Do not want to be long on YouTube. One of my goals on YouTube is to keep these videos much shorter, and then just to do several, you know, kind of across different topics. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was able to help you kind of get your brain spinning with some things, okay? If you have any questions, if there's something that you want to learn more, listen, this YouTube channel, the whole goal is for me to give you as much as I know. I do have a video coming that will be posted tomorrow that will be all about helping your Instagram, okay? Instagram, really excited. Now, there were a ton of topics. I did ask for you guys to ask me questions on YouTube on my print on demand video. But I know, again, that now this is something to really talk about, like maybe like 1 more minute, when it comes to this channel. When I say print on demand can mean so many things. Print on demand can be clothing, apparel, but also can be books. It can be, you know, just certain things. So I don't want you guys to think that the only thing on this channel will be about t-shirts and apparel and all that kind of stuff. It also includes print on demand, self-publishing books. You know, so if you have any questions about books or about publishing or about, you know, Create Space that's now KDP Publishing, you know, just let me know and we can definitely go over it. I also have another video coming up about an app called Over. I did an old video about this, but so many things have changed since I've used the app, and I posted the app in a huge Facebook group, and a lot of people had a lot of questions, and I got a lot of inboxes with questions. So I will be doing a video on how to use this awesome graphic design app on your phone that I've used to make tons of t-shirts. It's amazing. So guys, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. If this is your first time here, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section what you enjoyed about it. And guys, I will see you for another video. Bye guys. See you later.